Well, welcome to Friday, the end of the week. We have covered yet another week in this journey of ours, a journey of faith, a journey of growth, a journey of becoming, as we continue to focus on our theme for this time, revealing and releasing that spirit that is within us. This is a very powerful thought that we have, and it requires that we give some serious thought to it. And I trust that during the course of this week that you have done just that you would have given some thought to realizing and releasing the spirit within, finding self through that inner revelation. When I first thought of this at the beginning of the week, I felt that it was important because it was the beginning of this season or this time that we refer to as Sundays after Pentecost. And the focus on the Spirit. And so I want us to really come to terms with the importance of developing our spiritual awareness. Not just simply showing up for worship, but actually doing the work. Actually growing day by day, challenging ourselves. Let us take it seriously. I know we might say we'd have taken it seriously in the past, but did we really? Were we ever really invited to take seriously our personal walk in God and what that means? Did we really take really seriously our personal invitation to respond to God's divine love? Not from a perspective that we are sinful and we are the wretch of the earth, but from the perspective that the Spirit of God rests within us. That's our starting point. We are not a tabula rasa. We are not a clean slate. We have the imago Dei, the image of God, at our fundamental depth. And it is about mining that, removing the layers of debris that have covered over that through the years, and realizing its presence and releasing it. That's what we're here about. And I trust that as we would have given some thought to these ideas over this last few days, that you would have really taken the time to find yourself through that sense of the inner revelation, because this is important. And so as we continue then bring our journey today to an end for this week, I remind you of two things. One, and that is that we have our first sunrise meditation since COVID. It takes place tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. We will be there. So you just need to get on the road early and come with us. The sun normally comes up just about 5:15, 5:30 or thereabouts. So we want to be able to be there so that we can welcome that sunrise. So that's at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we are meeting at Ragged Point Grill. And like I said before, if you know the road to Ragged Point Lighthouse or the East Point Lighthouse, when you take that road, as soon as you turn into that road, there is a gap on the left. It's right next to a fence, a plant fence. And once you make that left turn, within about 100 yards, you will be at the Ragged Point Grill. And we will be there to greet you and to join you as we welcome the morning sun. My second notice is that tomorrow is also the Enneagram Day. And you may realize that recently we have been introducing or reintroducing the Enneagram to our community to help us to realize that there are some tools, some spiritual tools out there from way back when that we have not had an opportunity to even hear about or to use. And we want to encourage persons to use these tools because they're helpful. They really bring it down to the nitty gritty and they deal with me and you, not us. A lot of our work, a lot of our teaching is about us. And so the individual oftentimes can't find himself or herself in the us. And so simply goes along with the crowd, recognizing that in a sense they're not really fulfilled. I want you to be fulfilled. I want you to feel the connectedness. I need you to feel who you really are, not just be taken along by the crowd. So the Enneagram is one of those tools that will help us to do this, and we are introducing it to our community. And so tomorrow, Saturday, 25th of May, Enneagram Day, take a look at it, do some research, and see for yourself. So we come now to our time of inner stillness as we seek to find opportunity to be with the divine and to feel ourselves as a part of a whole. We are at the end of the week. And every end signals a new beginning. We take a few breaths, breathing down into our bellies, bringing our attention into our heart space. And allowing ourselves to simply rest in this awareness with the intention of releasing more and more of that spirit that is within. We are finding ourselves. We are becoming more and more still, waiting for that inner revelation, that inner awakening. It is there. We will not miss it. It will reveal. It is not a question of if. It's more a question of when. And a good part of that when is based on our willingness to engage, to be aware, to do the work, to uncover, to let go of the things that we've dragged along with us through the years, things that have weighed us down, yet we feel justified in holding on. In this space there is no room for old baggage that does not serve us. So as we come to this time of devotion, we open our hearts towards God and we ask for help. Help in in uncovering more and more of that which is hidden. We desire, with our deepest being, we desire to be free of the baggage, to be free of the weight, to be able to be ourselves. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. When the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? How he entered the house of God, and they ate the bread of the presence, which was not lawful for him or his companions to eat, but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple break the Sabbath and yet are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." He left that place and he entered their synagogue. A man was there with a withered hand, and they asked him, "Is it lawful to cure on the Sabbath?" so that they might accuse him. He said to them, "Suppose one of you has only one sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath. Will you not lay hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a human being than a sheep? So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." And he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and it was restored, as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and conspired against him, how to destroy him. Sometimes you wonder in this life about individuals who, as far as you're concerned, are supposed to be leaders and teachers, persons who are guiding us and helping us to grow. But oftentimes you realize that they live in fear. They live in perhaps more fear than we do. They're fearful of getting it wrong. And because they're fearful of getting it wrong, they pour out that fear on other persons. They're always looking to see who is going to get it wrong. To be able to make much ado of the fact that someone gets it wrong and that they are right. They don't really reflect on the deeper meaning or the initial purpose or the spirit of the particular thing that they're focusing on. They're just focusing on the externals. One of the downsides of the written word is its inflexibility. One of the beauties of the oral tradition is its flexibility. But alas, like everything else, too far east is west. Any excess is always dangerous. And so there must always be that sense of the balance. The written word was a tremendous gift. It came with the press as well in latter years, the printing press. But with it being copied so perfectly, we forget the errors that were there before it was printed. And also, we lose the flexibility and the way in which the oral tradition allows for the personality to engage. And sometimes you still hear it trying to break in when some preachers of certain denominations take the written word and they try to speak it like it's a part of an oral tradition. And they embellish it. But their embellishment is sort of superficial because it is understood that this is the straightforward text. Whereas the oral tradition had no benchmark, as it were, and kind of morphed and formed and bent to suit the context. And this adds some versatility. It can be dangerous because it can lead to individuals going off, way off target. And so either one at the extreme is problematic. So the real path then is a path of holding that tension between the exactness of the word and the flexibility of the context. Being able to allow it to morph and to adapt to some degree. Because nothing in nature is rigid. Everything bends. Trees live hundreds of years only because they have the ability to bend under severe wind. So that sense of the ability to bend provides a widening of our experience so that we can benefit. In today's reading from Matthew, Jesus is being criticized because his disciples are doing work on the Sabbath. And Jesus offers them a very unique example, the example of David doing something as horrific as eating the bread that is reserved for the priests. And he is using David because of how David is revered, no doubt, in the community. And showing that even David, in all his faithfulness to God, quote unquote, breaks this important rule. Constantly in our journey, the words of Jesus must ring true. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. When I'm able to realize the Spirit within me and release that Spirit, I inevitably become more compassionate. When I have that revelation of that Spirit, of that true self, I become as my God is, merciful. When we don't allow for this revealing and releasing, we remain rigid and hard. And we defend our position with our last breath because this is what we know, this is what we were told, this is what we believe. Because if we have to shift in any way, what it is a breaking down of the world as I have come to accept it. And that petrifies me. Because if I can't be certain of the rigidity of what I know and what I've learned, if I can't be certain of it, then what is to become of me? What is to become of all that I have learned, all that I have stood for? And that speaks of self-annihilation when we're looking at it from a place of fear. But if we look at it from a place of growth, then we realize that we have choices. We can choose. As we move forward, we can choose what we're willing to lean towards and what we are willing to lean away from. And all of it is coming from within. Not something that someone says we have to do. But it's coming from within. And that's where we want our responses to the world to come from within. Not from our regurgitation of something that we have taken in, but from that original self that has risen up within us and is being revealed and released. We've got time to do it. We don't have all the time in the world, but we've got time. Time to begin. Time to engage. Time to understand that we are here. And as we are here, there is work for us to do. And that work primarily is to work on ourselves. And tomorrow, as we pay attention to the Enneagram Day, I encourage us to give some thought to that. Working on ourselves. But first we have to find where we are. Where we are. Where is our rigidity? Where is our inflexibility? When we find that, we are able, by the grace of God, to move into it and to move away from that rigidity and to allow that former rigidity to be for us our blessing. Our week is ended. This set of reflections and devotions is over. We take a break. We relax tomorrow by the ocean and we reflect. And hopefully by grace, those who can make it will do so and allow themselves to be kissed by the sun as it begins a new day in our lives. Every blessing.
The Spirit lives to set us free. Walk, walk in the light. He binds us all in unity. Walk, walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light of the Lord. Jesus promised life to all. Walk, walk in the light. The dead were wakened by his call. Walk, walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light of the Lord. He died in pain on Calvary. Walk, walk in the light to save the lost like you and me. Walk, walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light of the Lord. We know his death was not the end. Walk, walk in the light. He gave his Spirit to be a friend. Walk, walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light. Walk in the light of the Lord. By Jesus' love